Hi, my name is Ashwini Kumar. In this video, we are going to see the UGC NET Electronic Science previous year questions. So it is the first problem we are going to see here. In an abrupt PN junction, if Na is less than Nd, then the barrier potential. So Na and Nd are nothing but Na is the concentration of acceptor impurities and Nd is nothing but concentration of donor impurities. So acceptor impurities means p-type. So p-type for the trivalent impurities. Trivalent impurities are called as acceptor impurities, and donor means pentavalent impurities are called as a donor impurity. So the concentration of trivalent impurities is represented with Na, and the concentration of pentavalent impurities are represented with Nd. So to solve this problem, we have to know the Poisson's equation. So the Poisson's equation is dou square V by dou x square is equal to rho divided by epsilon. So here the V represents the potential difference and x represents the distance. Okay. So how can we apply this concept to this problem is that dou square V can be written as a V naught, nothing but a barrier potential. Barrier potential notation can be given as a V naught divided by dou x square, where x is a distance, but here we are going to take x as a width of the depletion region. So you can take here a x square, or else here I am taking as a w square, where w represents the width. Why? Because here in the options they are given with respect to the w. So if you are taking like this p and n type diode, so it is a depletion layer and the width of this depletion layer is taken as a w, and the potential difference shown by this width or the depletion layer is a V naught. So we can call this one as a potential barrier, and it is the width of the depletion layer. So that is equal to rho divided by epsilon, and this one can be written as dou square V naught is equal to rho divided by epsilon into dou w square. And if we double integrate on the both the two sides, then here, well, because two times differentiation is there, so if I integrate the two times, then this differentiation will cancel out. Then V naught becomes is equal to rho by epsilon into x square by 2. So we can take this x as a width, the w, okay, w square by 2. And from this one, the potential barrier voltage, that is V naught, can be given as rho by epsilon into w square by 2, right? So now I am continuing that equation here. V naught is equal to 1 by 2 epsilon w square into rho, where rho represents the charge density, and the charge density rho can be given as a n into q. That means n number of electrons into charge of the electron. So if I substitute both these two in this potential barrier voltage, then the equation becomes as V naught is equal to 1 divided by 2 epsilon w square and n into q, right? So here n can be given as, this n can be given as q divided by 2 epsilon w square. So I'm just writing w square 2 epsilon into q except n. So this n can be written as, here in the given problem, n is nothing but a concentration of charge carriers. So here I can take n can be approximately equated as a nd. Why? Because here they given that Na is negligible, so I'm giving the most preference to the Nd, so N is approximately equals to Nd. So in the place of N, I am writing the Nd. So finally the equation can be written as V naught is equal to Q divided by 2 epsilon W square into Nd. So it is a final expression for the potential barrier voltage. We have started with the Poisson's equation. Okay, so Q Nd, so Qnd divided by 2 epsilon into W square. So option C is the correct answer. So here third one is the correct one. So like that you have to solve this problem. And while coming to the next problem, consider the following statements regarding poles and zeros of a network function. So as I already said in my previous lecture that poles and zeros is nothing but if you take any one transfer function, so it's nothing but a Laplace of output divided by Laplace of the input. So after solving this thing, output divided by input, then finally we will get the numerator divided by denominator. Numerator in terms of s and denominator in terms of s. So if we make the numerator part is equal to 0, then whatever the s we are getting, all these are called as a zeros. And if we make a denominator is equal to 0, whatever the s we are getting and all these s are called as a poles, right? So the first option is the total number of poles is equal to the total number of zeros in a rational network function. What is a rational network function means? The rational network function means if we take the numerator divided by denominator, the numerator and denominator must have at least one power difference in the s. One power difference in the s. One power difference means if the numerator is having like this s square 2s plus 1, then the denominator must be s cube plus s square plus 3s plus 1. So how much power difference is there? Here maximum power is the s square. Here the maximum power is the s cube. That means here the power is 2. Here the maximum power is the 3. So 2 minus 3 is 1. So at least one power difference must be there, either with respect to numerator or with respect to denominator. That means, for example, if we take some other transfer function like s cube plus 2s square plus 3s plus 1 divided by s square plus 2s plus 1. If you write like this, then what is the s power difference comparing with numerator and denominator? Here 3 and here 2, so the difference is 1. So such type of functions are called as a rational network functions. So definitely option A is not the correct thing. Next, the poles and zeros of a network function determine the magnitude of the response. Yes, it's correct. Why? Because we observed this point in the Bode plots. So in the Bode plots, the poles and zeros are plays major role in finding out the magnitude of the response. Okay, so if you know both these 2 points, then automatically we can find out the correct option. A is wrong and B is correct. So A is wrong. That means wherever the A options are there, just strike down that A options. So obviously the option 3 is the correct one. Okay, so it is a way of solving this problem. And while coming to the next problem, match the following PN junction diode, Zener diode, Schottky diode, and tunnel diode. Here the symbols are given. So obviously the conventional PN junction diode symbol is this one, where it represents the P type and this bar represents the N type. Right, and coming to the Zener. So as I told in the lecture that Zener, that means C. Zener is an American scientist who invented the Zener diode. That's why that C. Zener, in his name, the first alphabet is a Z. So to resemble that one, I have to put like this Z. So the Zener diode, where the Z shape is there, so this one it is a Z. So the Zener diode matched up with this one. And while coming to the tunnel diode, so tunnel diode means it's just like a T, right? So T, you can write like this also. That means we have to get the shape like this, T type thing. So here the tunnel diode represents this one. And while coming to the Schottky is nothing but Schottky is a metal semiconductor junction diode. All these three are the semiconductor junction diode. That means just like a P and N. So, but while coming to the Schottky diode is a metal semiconductor junction diode. So it is a combination. So A is matching up with 3. A matches up with 3. That means 2 options are there. And B matches up with the 2. So that means the second option is the correct one. And now while coming to the next question. Here the JFET, MOSFET, GUN diode and BJT and a few equations are given here. So coming to the JFET, we already known that to the JFET, the drain current equation is ID is equal to IDSS into 1 minus VGS divided by VGS of whole square. It is the expression. And coming to the transconductance expression is 2 into IDSS divided by modulus of VP into 1 minus VGS divided by VP. So that's why the JFET matches with the 2. And coming to the MOSFET drain current expression is mu naught COX W by L. If the MOSFET is in saturation, then VGS minus VT whole square divided by 2. So that means the MOSFET matches up with the 1. And while coming to the BJT, of course, the BJT is related with the beta terms. Why? Because the beta is a current amplification factor of the BJT when it is in common emitter configuration. So the D relates to 4 and obviously the gun diode relates to 3. So that means A matches up with the 2, A matching up with the 2, so only one option is there, and B matching with the 1, and C matching with the 3, and D matching with the 4. So it is the way of solving or remembering the equations. And while coming to the next problem, problem, so it is the question. In the list 1 they given the f of t, and in the list 2 they given the f of omega. That means these are the time domain functions and these are all the frequency domain functions. It is just like the Fourier transform of this one. So now here the first function is Laplace transform. The first function is the impulse function. So if you apply the transform, whatever the transform, whether it might be the Fourier transform or Laplace transform or Z transform, to the impulse function, it becomes is equal to 1. Okay, so whatever the transform you apply to the impulse function, then it becomes is equal to 1. That means the A matches up with the 2. And while coming to the B is a unit step signal, and for the unit step signal, if you apply the Fourier transform, it matches up with the 1. B match up with the 1. And while coming to the C, it is an exponentially decaying signal. If I apply the Fourier transform to this one, then it matches up with the 4. And it is D is a rectangular or a gate function. If you apply the Fourier transform to this one, then it becomes is equal to the Fourier transform of the gate function or rectangular function is a sinc function. Okay, it is a sinc function. And in the B, we are having the unit step signal. And if you apply the Laplace transform to the unit step signal, then I will get 1 divided by S. If I substitute S as a j omega, then it is a Fourier transform of the u of t. So it is a way of doing to get the Fourier transform from the Laplace transform. And while coming to it is e power minus t into u of t. So if I apply the Laplace transform, it is 1 divided by S plus 1, and Fourier transform is in the place of S, you have to substitute the j omega. So I will say one sample with respect to the unit step signal. So generally f of the Fourier transform, that is f of omega, is equal to integration minus infinity plus infinity f of t into e power minus j omega t into dt. Okay, so here I have to find out the Fourier transform to the unit step signal, that is u of t. So that is equal to integration minus infinity to plus infinity. In the place of f of t, u of t into e power minus j omega t into dt. Okay, so u of t is existing only from 0 to infinity. Okay, that means at the positive side, and from 0 to infinity its value is 1. Okay, and from 0 to minus infinity its value is 0. So that's why here I'm taking the limitations from 0 to infinity, and 0 to infinity u of t value is 1. So 1 into e power minus j omega t into dt. So after integrating this one, then I will get e power minus j omega t divided by minus j omega, and the limitations are from 0 to infinity. And after substituting the limitations, so I'm taking constant outside. So if you substitute the limitations, then I will get 0 minus 1, that becomes is equal to 1 divided by j omega. So that means if f of t is equal to u of t, then f of omega, that is Fourier transform, I got as a 1 divided by j omega. Now if you want to get the graph, let's take the omega here and f of omega here. So if it is a omega as 0. So if I substitute the omega as a 0, then I will get f of w as a infinity. So infinity. But we need not to point out that one. If you are substituting omega as a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, then I will get the graph like this. If you are substituting minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, then I am getting the graph like this, right? So now it is a graph we are going to get for the frequency domain. See, the unit step signal, it is a graph, so it matches up the this function or this signal. Okay, so like that you can able to find out to this function and to this function. So finally it is a matching up. So A matches up with the 2 and B matching up with the 1, C matching with the 4 and D matching with the 3. So it is a way of solving this problem. So if you know the Fourier transform concept, then you can able to find out this problem.